Hey fam, this is Jamie. Just bringing a devotional on Thursday morning. We are starting a new series, just started it this last Sunday, on the spiritual disciplines of Jesus. The series is called Follow Me, which is the words of Jesus. Follow Me, the practical spiritual disciplines of Jesus. And we're walking through 8 different disciplines. And today I just wanted to talk about one discipline that's actually not in the 8, but has been really, really helpful in my life. So technically, this is not one of the disciplines that we're going to be talking through, because what we're doing in the sermon series is we're looking at what Jesus did and what the early church did as they followed Jesus and his rhythms. But I just want to submit to you another discipline just to consider. And the discipline is this. It's called holy reading. Holy reading. And this is the discipline of exposing ourselves to books and authors that aren't the Bible, but who are men and women whose hearts burn for Jesus and for the glory of Christ. And I was first exposed to this concept by A.W. Tozer, who is literally a literary mentor in my life. And what Tozer would say is, the 3 most important books that anyone will ever have is 1, the Bible, 2, a hymnal, so that you can read the texts, and then thirdly, the journals and the writings of men and women whose hearts burned for Jesus. And in fact, Tozer, in his discipleship of young pastors and young ministers in his life, he would hand them a list of suggested books. I'm just trying to find this. He would hand out a list of recommended books. I don't know if you can see that. Recommended books by Tozer, and he would list these: Brother Lawrence, Julian of Norwich, Bernard of Clairvaux, Francois Fenelon, John of the Cross, Isaac Watts, so many people on here. And he would recommend these because he understood something. He called it the fellowship of the burning heart. The fellowship of the burning heart. And he understood something, that oftentimes we get cold, like our hearts get cold towards the Lord. And so when our hearts get cold like that, and someone says, you need to pray, you need to read the Bible, sometimes we approach a discipline and our hearts are so cold that we just find ourselves just going through the motions. And Tozer experienced the exact same thing. What he discovered is, if you will go to these guides, to these men and women who have gone before us, who had passionate love for Jesus, and if you read their words, the fire that's in their hearts starts to warm up your own heart, and you start to get on fire for Jesus. So I just want to submit this practice as a healthy practice. It's called holy, H-O-L-Y, holy reading. And it's the practice of reading others and their disciplines, and reading how they loved Jesus, and the fire of their passion for the kingdom warms us up. So I've just got some books, and they'll be in the description below. So I'll put these books in the description below so you can look at them. No particular order, but I want to submit some books to you. Okay. This is a key book for the series that we're using, called Celebration of Discipline by Richard Foster. Celebration of Discipline by Richard Foster. I read this book in high school and then multiple times through college, and since then, foundational book in my life. I mean, he just goes through the disciplines, gives biblical background. So if you're interested in any of the disciplines that we're looking at in this series, you want a little bit more content, Celebration of Discipline by Richard Foster. It's a classic, standard work. A little bit of a newer text. Let's see. Yeah. A little bit of a newer text is Donald Whitney's book, Spiritual Disciplines for the Christian Life. Really good text. Don Whitney is a good spiritual guide, good thinker, good theologian, good man. Respect him a lot. That would be a little bit of a newer book. Obviously, here I don't have the book out, but Dallas Willard, anything by Dallas Willard. But The Spirit of the Disciplines would be one. The Spirit of the Disciplines by Dallas Willard would be a great book to read. This little text, The Practice of the Presence of God by Brother Lawrence. The Practice of the Presence of God by Brother Lawrence, a foundational text in my life. So this coming Sunday, Dennis is going to be talking about prayer and practicing the presence of God. That book, if you want to learn what it's like to practice the presence of God in your daily life, this is the book to read. So take a look at that. Okay, Autobiography. The Autobiography of George Mueller. I tell you, I read this book, and this book shook me. This man started an orphanage, just living by faith. Amazing, amazing story. This lights me up almost more than anything else. And I'll say the number one book, however, that does light me up. Anything by this man, Aiden Wilson Tozer, A.W. Tozer. This book literally changed my life. Behind the Bible, in terms of transformative books, right behind the Bible, right, significantly behind the Bible's the best, right, is this book, A.W. Tozer, The Pursuit of God. This is what Tozer writes in the preface. So right before chapter 1, he writes this. This book is a modest attempt to aid God's hungry children to find him. Nothing here is new, except in the sense that it is a discovery which my own heart has made of spiritual realities most delightful and wonderful to me. Others before me have gone much farther into these holy mysteries than I have done. But if my fire is not large, it is yet real. And there may be those who can light their candle at its flame. So what Tozer's saying is, hey, I may not have this huge bonfire, but I have real fire. And if your heart is cold, come and read, and you'll be warmed by the fire that Tozer has experienced, because that's what he experienced with these other authors. And he recommends one guy, and I just want to throw this as the last text. It's a book called Christian Counsel. Christian Counsel by Francois Fenelon. Fenelon. Francois Fenelon, called Christian Counsel. It's just short. Almost you could use it as a devotional each day. I think there's 31 chapters. Each chapter is really short. I would use it as a devotional in my earlier years. He's got one chapter on the use of time, which is huge right now in isolation. That chapter may be worth the price of the entire book. It's called On the Use of Time. Francois Fenelon, Fenelon, Christian Counsel. You can probably get it free. It's public domain. I think I saw it on Amazon, like $1 on Kindle. So yeah, I just want to encourage you, not a spiritual discipline per se, like we're working through in the sermon series, but it is a spiritual practice that I want to submit to you all. It's well worth your time. Well worth your time. If you feel your heart is cold, pick up one of these books. Just start reading. If you want more suggestions, contact me, Dennis, Raz. We got all kinds of recommendations. If you have to pick one from the disciplines, you want to learn about disciplines. If you're going to pick up one, pick up this one, Celebration of Discipline by Richard Foster. If you're needing some fire, I would go A.W. Tozer, The Pursuit of God, or Christian Counsel by Francois Fenelon. These men and women were on fire for Jesus. And I want to be like them. I want to be on fire. And I can feel at times my heart gets cold and my mind gets dull towards the glory of Jesus. And when I get around these guys and these gals, and I start to read their words and their devotion to Jesus, it lights me up. I get around the fellowship of the burning heart. I get around men and women who are on fire for Jesus, and it begins to warm my own heart. So I just submit this to you. Holy reading. Get yourself around the fellowship of the burning heart. Find people who you can read who are on fire for Jesus. Get around people here at MCC who are on fire for Jesus. And let us have a huge bonfire of passion and zeal and delight in the glory of Jesus. That's what we're after. So I submit that practice to you. Holy reading, looking for those that are in the fellowship of the burning heart. Peace. Love ya. Bye.